When my wife was packing for her work trip, I noticed birth control pills among her things, but I just had a vasectomy. Later that evening, I quietly swapped them for a powerful laxative and smiled, saying, "Good luck at the conference." I could only imagine the embarrassment she faced in front of her colleagues. It's 2 a.m., that cursed hour when the world is silent except for one sound, specifically designed to test human sanity. A steady, passive-aggressive drip, drip, drip. The kitchen faucet, my nightly nemesis, is back at it. Each drop feels like the universe is tapping Morse code for "you married wrong." Meanwhile, my wife Madison is sleeping beside me like she's auditioning for a mattress commercial, mouth slightly open, breathing deep, absolutely unbothered. If peace had a face, it'd be hers. If insomnia had a victim, it'd be me. I stare at the ceiling for a while, hoping the noise will magically stop or I'll spontaneously lose hearing in one ear. Neither happens. Instead, the drip syncs perfectly with my heartbeat, like some twisted duet. Finally, I throw off the covers and sigh, the kind of sigh that lets the whole house know I'm suffering. Madison doesn't move. Of course not. She sleeps through thunderstorms and fire truck sirens. I once accidentally set off the smoke alarm making popcorn. She rolled over and mumbled, "Get the insurance papers." I grabbed my old wrench from the toolbox, the one I inherited from my dad along with his sarcastic streak and high blood pressure, and shuffle into the kitchen wearing boxers and disappointment. The tile's cold, the air's colder, and I can smell last night's takeout judging me from the trash can. The faucet gleams like it's mocking me. "All right, you metallic demon," I mutter, crouching down to work on the pipe. That's when I see it, the open travel bag sitting on the counter. Madison's bag. Normally, I'd ignore it. She travels for work all the time, chasing business strategies and networking opportunities, which is corporate for overpriced cocktails and pretending to like people named Chad. But something about the way the bag gapes open catches my eye. Inside, her usual stuff: lip gloss, perfume, charger, conference badge. Then my gaze lands on a familiar blister pack: birth control pills. At first, my brain doesn't compute. It's like spotting a bear in your backyard. You just kind of stare, thinking, that's weird. Then it hits. I had a vasectomy, a whole ass, medically verified, paperwork signed vasectomy. My swimmer's retired, gold watch ceremony, and everything. So why the hell would Madison need these? I freeze, wrench in hand, mouth slightly open, heart pounding so loud it almost drowns out the dripping. Almost. My first thought, maybe they're old. Maybe she just hasn't thrown them away. My second thought, maybe she's taking them for something else from hormonal stuff, right? My third thought, maybe I'm an idiot grasping for excuses. Ding, 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 we have a winner. I sit back on my heels, staring at the pills like they might explain themselves. They don't. The little pink compact gleams under the kitchen light, innocent and damning all at once. I can actually hear my dad's voice in my head. "Son, if something doesn't make sense, it's because someone's lying." He'd probably pat my shoulder, hand me a beer, and tell me to lawyer up. I laugh softly, because what else can you do when your life suddenly feels like a bad sitcom? I even picture the laugh track audience gasping in unison as the camera zooms in on the pill pack. "Oh no, he found the evidence." Cue theme music. I reach out and pick it up. It's open, one pill missing. I turn it over, checking the label like some detective in boxers. It's new, prescription date from 2 weeks ago. Any delusion I had about leftovers evaporates. My throat goes dry. I put the pills back exactly as I found them, careful not to disturb a single thing. The dripping pipe is still leaking, by the way, because the universe loves timing. So I fix it, tighten the nut, wipe the water, test the faucet. No more drip. Congratulations, me. I just repaired the plumbing while mine's been metaphorically shut off for a year. I lean against the counter, wrench hanging limply in my hand. My reflection in the microwave door looks ridiculous. Hair messy, eyes bloodshot, expression somewhere between disbelief and a nervous laugh. "You've got to be kidding me," I whisper. It's funny, in a dark comedy kind of way. I remember the vasectomy vividly. Me lying there, cracking dumb jokes at the doctor because I use humor as anesthesia. Madison was there, holding my hand, saying, It's just a precaution. We're done having kids anyway. She even kissed my forehead afterward like a supportive partner in a medical commercial. Now that memory plays back with a brand new soundtrack, the faint rustle of betrayal. I rinse my hands, though they're not dirty, and close her bag gently. I want to be wrong so bad it hurts. Maybe there's some miracle explanation involving medical research or space-age skincare. But deep down, I know. My gut knows. I walk back to the bedroom, feeling like I'm moving underwater. Madison's still asleep, tangled in the sheets, hair fanned across the pillow like a shampoo ad. I watch her for a second, and the irony hits me. I used to love moments like this, the quiet, the comfort of just existing next to someone. Now it feels like standing next to a ticking bomb. I slip into bed, trying not to wake her. The mattress dips, and she instinctively scoots closer, her hand brushing my arm. Love you, she mumbles. For a split second, my heart does that stupid thing where it wants to believe her. Old reflex. Then I remember the compact, the pills, the date. I swallow a bitter laugh. Love you too, I whisper, though it feels more like a confession than a response. I stare at the ceiling again. No drip this time, just silence, the kind that screams louder than noise. And here's the twisted part. A small piece of me feels relieved. Because for months, something's felt off. Late nights at the office, the sudden obsession with personal development seminars. The new wardrobe that screams somebody else is watching me get dressed. I told myself I was paranoid that marriage had seasons. Well, this season's called Winter of Deception, and I'm the idiot who didn't check the forecast. I glance at the clock, 2:47 a.m. Great. I'll either sleep never or dream of pharmacies. My mind starts spinning scenarios like a conspiracy board. Madison sneaking around, mystery man with too much cologne, hotel receipts, fake conferences. I almost laugh again because it sounds too cliche to be real. But cliches exist for a reason, right? They're what happens to people who don't pay attention until the drip becomes a flood. I turn on my side, watching her chest rise and fall. She looks peaceful, beautiful even. The kind of beauty that makes you want to believe she couldn't possibly be guilty of anything uglier than using too much conditioner. And yet, a thought hits me, sharp, cold. If she's cheating, I don't want to explode. I want to understand. I want to see the full picture before I act, because once I act, there's no going back. My dad always said revenge tastes best when it's slow cooked. So I make a quiet promise to myself, right there in the dark, I'll play dumb. I'll listen, observe, collect evidence like a polite little detective in sweatpants. She won't see it coming because Madison underestimates quiet men. She thinks silence means surrender. She doesn't realize silence is where I sharpen knives. The room feels heavy, thick with secrets and fake peace. Outside, the neighborhood's dead quiet except for a stray cat yowling like it knows drama's about to drop. I close my eyes, forcing my breathing to match hers. Tomorrow, I'll fix the smile, pretend everything's fine, flip pancakes, crack jokes. But right now, lying next to her, I know something fundamental has shifted. Marriage is weird. You spend years building routines, inside jokes, shared playlists, matching towels, and then one small discovery cracks it open like an egg. Suddenly, you're analyzing everything. The way she said, good night, the delay before she answered texts, the new perfume that a coworker recommended. It all rearranges itself into a story you wish you hadn't read. I whisper to the dark, you really messed with the wrong plumber, Mads. It sounds ridiculous, but it helps. Humor's my armor, sarcasm my shield. If I start crying now, I'll never stop. I roll over and face the wall. My brain replays the drip sound even though it's gone. Each phantom drop reminding me that every leak starts small. One crack, one oversight, one moment you didn't double check. I fixed the pipe tonight, but the damage isn't in the plumbing. It's in the trust. And unlike faucets, there's no wrench for that. Sleep doesn't come easy. When it finally does, it's shallow and restless. Full of warped dreams where wrenches turn into microphones and Madison's whispering love you on a stage lit by flickering fluorescent lights. I wake just before sunrise, heart pounding, drenched in sweat, not sure if it's the dream or the truth that scared me more. The drip's gone, but the realization isn't. It echoes louder than any noise could. My marriage is leaking, and no amount of tightening will hold forever. The next morning smells like burnt coffee and betrayal. The sun's streaming through the blinds like it's mocking me for still being here, playing the role of loving husband. Madison's already up, humming off key in the kitchen. Normally, I'd find that cute. Today, it sounds like a war chant. I drag myself out of bed, pull on sweatpants, and glance in the mirror. I look like the before picture in an antidepressant ad. When I walk into the kitchen, she's flipping pancakes with that fake domestic bliss energy influencers post on Instagram. Morning, babe, she says cheerfully, as if she didn't just leave her secret pills in plain sight last night. Sleep okay? Like a baby, I reply, forcing a smile. Woke up every hour crying. She laughs, but it's that tight kind of laugh people use when they're deciding if you're joking. I sit down at the table, and she pours coffee into my mug like nothing's wrong. Got a big day today, she chirps. Conference prep. I'm flying out tomorrow morning. I sip my coffee, bitter, perfect. Seattle, right? She nods, brushing her hair out of her face. And I notice she's wearing that navy blouse, the one she calls her power shirt. Translation. The one that gets her the most compliments from men who think cologne equals charisma. Just a few days, she adds quickly. Team building, strategy sessions, networking, you know how it is. Yeah, I know exactly how it is. The way she says team building sounds like code for coordinated adultery. Networking sounds exhausting, I say, stabbing a pancake like it owes me money. It's not so bad, she says, eyes sparkling. Connor Blake's going to be there. There it is, the name, Connor. I've heard it before, casually dropped here and there, always with that little uptick in her voice, the one that says, I'm pretending this guy doesn't make my serotonin spike. I swallow a bite, chew slowly. Connor, right? The consultant guy? She nods eagerly, completely missing the sarcasm dripping off my words. Yeah, the one I told you about. He's brilliant. He's been mentoring me, helping me think more strategically about my career. I want to ask, strategically, as in horizontally? But I don't. I just raise an eyebrow and say, sounds educational? Oh, it is, she says, flipping another pancake like she's performing for Food Network. You'd love him. He's super creative, really innovative. Uh-huh, I mutter. Bet he is. Madison's phone buzzes on the counter. She glances at it, smiles, and types a quick reply before I can even blink. I don't have to look to know who it is. I've seen that grin before. It's the same one she used to give me before she remembered who I actually am. Conference updates? I ask casually. Yeah, she says too quickly. Just coordinating schedules. Schedules, right. I take another bite, nodding like I'm buying it. Gotta make sure those panels are lined up. She blinks. Panels? You know, conference panels. The ones where people talk about synergy and market penetration while secretly planning to hook up in the hotel bar. She laughs again, but this time her eyes flicker, just for a split second, before she forces a grin. You watch too many movies. Maybe, I say, but they get a lot right. For a while, we just eat in silence. She scrolls through her phone between bites. Every few seconds, she giggles. Giggles. Actual giggles. Madison never giggles. She's the kind of woman who finds tax deductions interesting and emotions inconvenient. So yeah, when she giggles, someone else is typing the punchline. Who's funny? I ask finally, feigning curiosity. Oh, no one, she says too fast, eyes glued to her screen. Just a meme from the group chat. I sip my coffee, pretending to accept it. Inside, I'm already planning an entire psychological warfare campaign. The birth control pills were a grenade. This? This is confirmation the pin's been pulled. She stands up and starts packing her lunch. I might need to leave early tomorrow, she says, tossing protein bars into her tote. The team's meeting at the airport lounge. Teamwork makes the dream work, I say. My voice so sweet it could rot teeth. You got everything ready? Almost. She turns and her perfume hits me. Expensive, floral, way too much for an early morning flight. Can you grab my dry cleaning later? Of course, I say, smiling. Anything for my career-driven wife. Thanks, babe. She leans in, kisses my cheek, and for a moment, I almost forget. Almost. Her lips are soft, her tone normal, her routine perfect. She's got this down to a science, and maybe that's what stings the most, how effortlessly she lies. When she disappears upstairs, I just sit there, staring at the half-eaten pancakes. They look as tired as I feel. The house is too quiet now. I glance at her phone, still lit up on the counter. A new message pops up. My heart skips like a scratched CD. Connor. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Missed your laugh today. My jaw tightens. Missed your laugh. That man doesn't know how close he is to missing solid bowel movements for a month. I screenshot it, just muscle memory at this point. Then lock the screen and slide the phone back exactly where she left it. She walks back in, zipping up her suitcase. You okay? She asks, glancing at me. Yeah, I say, masking the storm brewing in my head. Just thinking. About what? Oh, nothing important, I say. Just plumbing. She tilts her head. Plumbing? Yeah, I say, sipping my coffee. Pipes, leaks, pressure, maintenance stuff. She stares at me like I've grown another head, then shrugs. You're weird sometimes. Only sometimes? I smile. Guess I'm slacking. She laughs, a genuine one this time, and grabs her bag. I've got a meeting downtown, so I'll be back late. Don't wait up. Wouldn't dream of it. She leaves, heels clicking across the tile like the world's most elegant countdown. I watch her car pull out of the driveway and vanish down the street. The silence that follows is deafening. I sit there, drumming my fingers on the table. The rage isn't fiery. It's cold, precise, like a scalpel. The kind that cuts clean. I could confront her right now. Demand answers. Blow everything up. But where's the art in that? No, if she's going to play games, I'll write the rules. I rinse my plate, staring out the window. The yard looks normal. Same trimmed grass, same nosy neighbor walking her dog in pajamas. Everything looks ordinary. And that's the funny thing about betrayal. It hides best in routine. The pancakes, the kisses, the travel plans, all camouflage for chaos. My phone buzzes. It's my buddy Marcus, the IT guy from college who now hacks Wi-Fi passwords for fun and legally questionable profit. His text reads, "Game night Friday?" I reply, "Maybe. Gotta handle something first." He sends back a meme of a raccoon holding dynamite. Don't do anything illegal without me. I laugh, the first real laugh of the morning, and text back, "Define illegal." I clean up the kitchen, still thinking about Connor. The name alone sounds douchey. Probably a guy who wears fitted vests and says things like, "Let's circle back." I can already picture him. Slick hair, smug grin, probably thinks Coldplay is deep. I grab my car keys, debating whether to follow her downtown just to confirm my suspicions, but I stop myself. Not yet. If I start tailing her now, I'll look desperate. No, better to stay calm, observe, document, and maybe, just maybe, start crafting an insurance policy of my own. By noon, she texts, "Busy day, don't forget to eat lunch." I stare at it for a second before replying, "Wouldn't miss it. How's your mentor?" No response. I smirk, "Gotcha." I drive to the hardware store, pretending to care about faucets and pipes, but my mind's already spinning schemes. If she's going to play with chemicals, maybe it's time I learn some chemistry of my own. I imagine her face when Karma shows up wearing an apron. By the time I get home, she's texted again. "Sorry, crazy meeting." Connor's idea blew everyone's mind. Yeah, I bet it did. I resist the urge to reply something nuclear and just text back, "Bet it did. You always did love surprises." She doesn't answer. Figures. The rest of the evening drags like a Monday in purgatory. I make myself dinner, spaghetti and cynicism, and scroll through Netflix without watching anything. The quiet stretches on until it's suffocating. Finally, I grab my phone and open the calendar. "Conference in Seattle," she said. That gives me time. Time to plan, prepare, and make sure her little getaway turns into the most memorable trip of her life. I close my eyes, picturing her laughing at her phone this morning, whispering Connor like it's a secret worth keeping. My jaw tightens again. Fine, she wants to play pretend? I'll play pretend. She'll never see it coming. And for the first time since last night, I feel something new. Not sadness, not rage. Purpose. Tomorrow, the games begin. By the next morning, I'd reached that level of calm that's scarier than rage. The kind where you're sipping coffee, scrolling the news, and planning psychological warfare like you're ordering pizza. Madison was in the shower singing Shivers by Ed Sheeran, which felt painfully ironic considering I was about to give her a reason to experience actual shivers. Her suitcase sat half open on the bathroom counter, all perfectly packed. Makeup, perfume, business suits, the usual props for conference wife theater. The pink compact case sat right on top, mocking me like a neon sign flashing lies in here. I stared at it while stirring my coffee. My hand didn't even shake. That's when I knew I was in dangerous territory, the kind of calm that makes therapists nervous. But before I turned into the world's most sarcastic vigilante, I needed supplies. Not bullets or blueprints, just something far more poetic. Laxatives. Yeah, you heard that right. Super strength, digestive Armageddon grade laxatives. The kind pharmacists warn old ladies about. When Madison left for her team meeting, I grabbed my keys, threw on my hoodie, and drove to the nearest drugstore. The place smelled like antiseptic and bad life choices. The clerk, a teenager with pink hair and eyebrow piercing, gave me the "are you dying or pranking someone" look when I slapped 3 boxes on the counter. Uh, she said slowly. These are in industrial strength. Perfect, I said, deadpan. They're for a prank video. She tilted her head. You're filming someone using these? I smiled. Let's just say someone's been full of crap for a while, and it's time for nature to take its course. Her eyebrows rose. Sir, you might want to consider therapy. Oh, I have, I replied. But this is cheaper. I left with a paper bag full of poetic justice and the satisfaction of a man taking control of his narrative. When I got home, Madison's car was still gone, which meant I had time for precision. I pulled on rubber gloves like I was handling radioactive waste, which technically I was. Then I opened the sacred compact, her vitamins. Each little pill sat neatly in place, smug in its deceit. You ever see those spy movies where the agent swaps diamonds under a camera's blind spot? That was me, except my diamonds were digestive grenades. I carefully replaced each of her birth control pills with the identical looking laxatives I'd found. The color match was perfect. Both soft pink, same shape, even the same faint, chalky smell. I felt like Michelangelo painting vengeance in tablet form. While I worked, I hummed the Mission Impossible theme under my breath because, honestly, if you're going to commit an act of petty genius, you need a soundtrack. Every pill went back in the same spot, aligned perfectly, like the planets before an eclipse. When I finished, I snapped the compact shut, exhaled, and admired my handiwork. I'd just created the world's first moral detox kit. The timing was perfect, too. Her flight was tomorrow. That meant my little gifts would kick in right about the time she'd be smiling over appetizers with Connor, mentor of mischief, Blake. As I cleaned up, I thought about what kind of person I was turning into. The kind who plants laxatives in his cheating wife's purse. Not exactly the hero you root for, but honestly, heroes get screwed, strategists survive. Around noon, Madison came home. She smelled like citrus and ambition, her hair tied up, face glowing like she just got promoted in emotional manipulation. You're home early, I said, keeping my tone casual. "Yeah, meeting wrapped fast," she replied, setting her bag down. Connor had to run, so we rescheduled. Oh, I bet he did. Probably to pack matching suitcases. Good for him, I said. Guy sounds efficient. She grinned, completely missing the dagger in my tone. He really is. We're lucky to have him on the team. Yeah, lucky, like a stomach virus in July. She wandered into the kitchen, opening the fridge, humming again. Hey, can you remind me to take my vitamins tonight? I always forget before a trip. My grin almost betrayed me. Don't worry, I said softly. I won't let you forget. She smiled, oblivious, and I swear, the universe winked back at me. That night, while she showered, I sat in bed pretending to scroll through emails, but mostly rehearsing my internal monologue for future Netflix dramatizations of this moment. The steam from the bathroom drifted out, carrying that expensive lavender scent she always used. Her bag sat on the dresser, zipper half open, compact case peeking out like a pink little time bomb. I took a sip of water, feeling smug in a way that was almost spiritual. When she stepped out, towel around her hair, skin glistening, she smiled at me like nothing was wrong in the world. Everything packed? I asked casually. Almost, she said, rubbing lotion on her arms. I think I'm forgetting something. You sure? I emphasized, voice deliberately light. You've got your essentials? She frowned, thinking, then snapped her fingers. Oh, right, my vitamins. She zipped open the bag, grabbed the compact, and dropped it into the side pocket. Good catch, babe. Anytime, I said, giving her a grin that probably should have tipped her off if she wasn't blinded by guilt and perfume. She walked over, kissed me on the forehead, and said, "You're my rock, you know that?" I almost laughed out loud. "Yeah," I said, voice calm, "solid as they come." She smiled, totally unaware that the rock she was standing on had just shifted beneath her feet. After she turned off the lights and crawled into bed, she curled up beside me. My mind was racing, but I kept my breathing even. She rested her head on my chest, and I stared at the ceiling, the ghost of last night's dripping sound echoing faintly in my head. This time it didn't irritate me. It motivated me. I knew people might call me petty for what I'd done. But here's the thing. Betrayal demands creativity. Anybody can scream, throw things, or walk away. It takes real art to make karma punctual. I lay awake for hours thinking about Connor. I pictured him with his stupid, innovative smirk, talking about synergy, while pretending not to stare at Madison's legs. I wondered if he had any idea he was about to experience secondhand consequences. He probably thought he was invincible. The office golden boy. Well, gold melts under heat, and my plan was about to light the furnace. The next morning, Madison was up early, buzzing with excitement. "Flight's at 9," she said, brushing her hair while checking her phone. Connor texted, "They're meeting at the lounge first." "Oh," I said, pretending to be impressed. "Team strategy, right?" She nodded, missing the sarcasm completely. "Yep, we've got a presentation on new marketing funnels." "Funnel," I muttered. "That's one word for it." She raised an eyebrow. "What?" "Nothing," I said quickly, standing and stretching. "Just thinking about plumbing again." She rolled her eyes. "You and your pipes." "Yep," I said, smiling faintly. "It's all about pressure and timing." She laughed, kissed me goodbye, and grabbed her suitcase. "I'll call you tonight," she said cheerfully. "I'll be waiting," I said, and meant it, just not for the reasons she thought. After she left, I watched her car pull away until it disappeared down the street. Then I leaned against the doorframe and exhaled. It was strange. Part of me felt powerful, the other part hollow. Love and revenge mixed like bleach and ammonia, intoxicating, but you can't breathe for long. I poured myself another cup of coffee and stared at my phone. My thumbs hovered over Marcus's name. He was my chaos consultant, the friend who once hacked his ex's Spotify just to replace every playlist with breakup songs. If anyone could appreciate what I'd done, it was him. I texted, "Operation Vitamin Swap complete." He replied instantly, "You didn't, I did." "Bro," he texted, "you're either a legend or going to hell with VIP seating." "Probably both," I wrote. He sent back a string of laughing emojis and the words, "Record everything." "Don't worry," I murmured aloud, setting the phone down. "I intend to." That evening, Madison texted me a photo of her hotel view, some skyline shot probably taken from Google Images. "Miss you already," she wrote. "Sure you do," I muttered. I smiled, replied, "Miss you too," and set my phone on the counter. Then I waited. I poured whiskey, turned on the game, and counted the hours. Somewhere in Seattle, the lovebirds were having dinner, and somewhere between the appetizer and dessert, her internal symphony would start. I pictured the scene vividly, Madison laughing, flipping her hair, suddenly pausing mid-giggle, eyes widening in alarm. Connor probably asking, "You okay?" while she excuses herself, clutching her stomach like karma just punched her from the inside. I raised my glass to the empty room. Cheers to gastrointestinal justice. The sound of the ice clinking against glass was almost poetic. By midnight, I got a text. Just 2 words, "Rough night." I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. No context needed. The silence after that text was even sweeter. No follow-ups. No "love you." Just digestive despair. As I turned off the lights and headed upstairs, I felt lighter than I had in months. I wasn't healed, not yet, but I'd taken back control. The best revenge isn't destruction, it's watching someone's lies implode on themselves while you calmly sip your drink. And as I slid into bed that night, alone but oddly at peace, I whispered into the dark, "Sleep tight, Madison. Hope you packed extra toilet paper." Madison left for the airport at 6 a.m. sharp, perfume cloud first, Suitcase second, conscience last. I stood by the door sipping coffee like some suburban sentry, watching her Uber pull away through the drizzle. She waved once before disappearing around the corner, a vision of confidence and betrayal dressed in beige trench coat chic. The taillights blinked twice. And I swear the universe blinked back at me like the Showtime champ. I didn't move for a full minute. The silence that followed was heavy, the kind that hums with possibilities. Then, methodically, I set my mug down, stretched, and got to work. Step 1, secure the intel. Step 2, enjoy the show. Marcus was already awake, of course he was. The man treats caffeine like a religion, and answered my call on the first ring. Please tell me you're calling to brag, he said instead of hello. Oh, I'm calling to upgrade your day, I replied. You remember that email tracker you showed me, the one that lets you monitor opens, forwards, all that good stuff? He groaned. Bro, that was supposed to be for client security audits, not marital espionage. Relax, I said, pacing the living room. It's for personal growth, self-awareness. I just want to be aware of who my wife's aware of. There was a pause. Then his chuckle crackled through the speaker. You're unbelievable. Give me her company domain and I'll set you up. You'll get a ping every time she sends or receives something spicy. Marcus, my friend, I said, grinning, you're not just an IT guy. You're karma with Wi-Fi. 30 minutes later, I was logged into an interface that looked like NASA for nosy husbands. Colored dots, timestamps, subject lines. It was beautiful. My own little control room of poetic justice. At 9:12 a.m., her first email popped up. Flight boarding now, so excited to see everyone. Attached photo, her boarding pass, latte in hand, face glowing with filtered joy. I could practically hear the fake cheer through the pixels. Enjoy your flight, I muttered. Hope turbulence hits right after beverage service. I spent the next hour tinkering with the sink she'd nagged me about for weeks. Fixing leaks felt symbolic now, closing the gaps, tightening control. Every turn of the wrench whispered, You're getting there, buddy. By noon, the pipe was fixed, the house spotless, and my phone buzzed again. New mail. See you tonight, Connor. There it was. The smoking emoji gun. I didn't even open it. Just forwarded it to myself, archived it in a folder I'd already named Exhibit A Stupidity, and leaned back in my chair. Funny thing, I wasn't even angry, not anymore. Anger's loud and clumsy. What I felt now was surgical. Around lunchtime, Madison texted a picture of her hotel view. Generic skyline, suspiciously spotless windows, clearly stock photo lighting. Room's great. Miss you already. Sure you do, I said aloud, clicking open the live flight tracking tab Marcus had built into my dashboard. Her plane had landed 2 hours earlier. The tracker showed she was already checked into her company's Slack. She was alive, online, and about 6 hours away from gastrointestinal destiny. To celebrate, I made a sandwich, poured another coffee, and queued up the Office reruns. Because nothing pairs with impending chaos like deadpan humor. Between bites, I drafted a mental script for later. Act supportive, sound loving, hide the smirk. By evening, my phone lit up with another alert. Madison's work calendar update. Dinner with Connor and team. 7 p.m. The universe had officially confirmed its RSVP. Dinner at 7, I said to no one, raising my glass of water like a toast. May the odds be ever in your colon's favor. Marcus texted a meme of a ticking time bomb labeled Taco Bell. I almost spit my drink. You think it'll hit tonight? He wrote. Right around dessert, I replied. Poetic timing. At 7:04 p.m., another ping. An outgoing email titled, Running a bit late to the panel dinner. See you soon. The timestamp glowed like fate's countdown clock. By 8:10, nothing. At 8:17, my phone buzzed. One text, 2 words. Don't ask. I laughed so loud the neighbor's dog barked. I couldn't help picturing the scene. The elegant conference restaurant, dim lighting, everyone sipping wine while Madison tries to smile through the opening salvos of gastric regret. Connor, oblivious, complimenting her presentation while she sweats through polite small talk. Then the panic, the polite excuse, the power walk that turns into a sprint. 8:30, another buzz, Marcus again, update. She texted, don't ask. There was a pause, then a string of laughing emojis, and one word, legend. I tossed my phone onto the couch and doubled over laughing until my stomach hurt more than hers probably did. For once, I didn't feel like the guy holding the short end of the stick. I was the one writing the script. When the laughter died down, I poured myself a beer and opened her email dashboard again. Sure enough, there was a new one in her drafts folder. Half-typed, never sent. Sorry, had to run. Not feeling well? Tell Connors I'll see him tomorrow. Oh, Madison. Tomorrow's not looking so good either. I clicked save, closed the laptop, and leaned back with a satisfied sigh. I should have been furious about the betrayal. Instead, I felt vindicated, like I'd taken the universe's chaos and turned it into choreography. Around 10, I decided to call it a night. Before heading upstairs, I glanced once more at her texts. Nothing new since Don't Ask. I imagined her curled up in a five-star hotel bathroom, questioning her life choices, and whispered, "Sweet dreams, sweetheart. May the porcelain gods grant you mercy." Sleep came easy for me that night. Maybe it was the beer, maybe the justice. Probably both. The next morning, sunlight poured through the blinds, warm and smug. My first thought was that I didn't hear dripping. My second was that I hadn't heard from Madison. Usually she spammed morning check-ins like a Hallmark intern. I checked my phone. No texts. Curious, I opened the email tracker. There they were, 3 messages from her sent between 2 and 4 a.m., all flagged urgent. The first read, "Had bad food reaction. So embarrassing." Connor and the team were so sweet about it. The second, "Doctor says maybe a bug. Need rest. We'll miss morning session." And the third, "Love you for being so patient with me." I almost snorted coffee out my nose. Patient? Lady, I'm practically a saint. I sent back a short reply. Hope you feel better. Stay hydrated. Classic husband tone. Warm, supportive, devoid of suspicion. The kind of text that makes cheaters underestimate you harder. Marcus called an hour later, voice already grinning. "So, did Karma board the flight or what?" "Oh, she boarded," I said. "She even upgraded to explosive seating." He wheezed, laughing. "You're going to hell." "Maybe," I said, smirking, "but I'll be well hydrated when I get there." After the call, I went about my day like any regular man whose marriage was imploding and thriving simultaneously. Groceries, bills, gym. Life felt strangely simple without suspicion gnawing at the edges. Every errand came with a silent victory soundtrack. By afternoon, Madison finally texted, "Feeling a little better." Connor brought me soup. Of course he did, probably the kind that promised comfort and delivered heartburn. I typed, "He's a great colleague," deleted it, retyped. That's nice of him. Hit send, no emoji. You can't give emojis to people who weaponize affection. Evening rolled around and she FaceTimed me from her hotel bed, hair messy, face pale. "Hey babe," she croaked. "You won't believe the last 24 hours." "Oh, I can imagine," I said, keeping my tone neutral. "Something I ate must have been bad," she said, clutching her stomach. "I threw up half the night and, you don't want to know the rest." I raised an eyebrow. "Seattle cuisine can be tricky. Too much variety." She groaned. "I never want to see seafood again." "Maybe stick to simple meals," I suggested, trying not to grin. "Yeah," she said weakly. "Connor said the same thing." "I bet he did," I muttered. "What?" "Nothing, just take care of yourself." She smiled faintly. "You're so good to me." If irony had a face, it'd be mine in that moment. "Always," huh? I said. "Now get some rest. Big day tomorrow?" "Yeah, we've got another presentation." "Wonderful. Don't strain yourself." When we hung up, I stared at my reflection in the black screen. I looked calm, too calm. Maybe I should have felt guilty. But guilt's for people who started wars, not the ones who end them elegantly. Before bed, I opened her Instagram. There it was. The conference's official page had posted group photos. Everyone was smiling. Madison, however, looked like she'd just lost a round with destiny. Pale, forced grin, holding a water bottle like it was holy scripture. Comments poured in. "Trooper, hope you feel better, Mads. You're such a dedicated professional." Dedicated, all right. To chaos. I couldn't resist. I liked the post. Subtle move, strategic placement. If she saw the notification, it'd remind her that I was always watching, supportively, of course. Later that night, Marcus texted, "You realize you just created the digestive equivalent of a Greek tragedy, right?" "Yep," I typed back. "And Act 2 starts tomorrow." The next morning, a new email appeared in my tracker. Flight change request. Apparently, she was trying to come home early. The subject line said it all. Need to rest and recuperate. Of course you do. Karma's not done with you yet, sweetheart. I poured another coffee and smiled. Watching someone's lies unravel isn't instant gratification. It's a slow-motion masterpiece. Every rough night, every forced smile, every fake apology waiting to be born, all of it was leading somewhere. And for once, I wasn't the clueless husband cleaning up the mess. I was the conductor, baton raised, ready for the symphony of consequence to reach its crescendo. As I closed my laptop, I whispered, "Bon appetit, Connor. Hope you like your mentorship sessions spicy." The house felt lighter again, the pipes quiet, the air still. I'd fixed the leaks, inside and out. For the first time in months, I didn't dread the silence, I owned it. You know that feeling when you're scrolling through your phone, waiting for Karma to post an update? That was me the next morning. Bleary-eyed, half-dressed, coffee in one hand, justice in the other. My screen lit up like it had news from the front lines. Because, well, it did. My personal battlefield was the Seattle Marriott Ballroom, and the soldiers were Madison's intestines. The first ping came at 8:42 a.m., a new email from her. Subject line, "Great first day." Panel was amazing. Meeting with Connor later for dinner. I stared at the message like it had just insulted my mother. The tone was way too chipper, like she hadn't just turned the conference into a live-action Pepto-Bismol commercial. "Meeting with Connor later," she said, as if the phrase didn't come with its own ominous soundtrack. I pictured her typing it while sipping electrolyte water, pretending she didn't have flashbacks to the Marriott restroom. The audacity. I took a slow sip of coffee. "All right, Madison," I murmured. "Let's see how long that confidence lasts." By noon, nothing. No new emails, no texts, no pings, just silence. The kind of silence that hums like anticipation. I went about my day pretending to be a functioning adult. Grocery run, a call with a client, fixing a squeaky cabinet door, but really, I was waiting for Karma to clock in again. Then, at 6:55 p.m., I got the update. A text. "Dinner soon." Feeling much better. Connor picked a place with amazing seafood. Seafood. I nearly dropped my phone. I actually laughed out loud in the middle of my kitchen. "Oh no, honey," I said to nobody. "No, you did not just tempt fate with oysters." I sat down, grinning like a man about to watch a sequel he didn't ask for, but absolutely deserved. I could almost see the movie trailer in my head. Previously on the Conference Chronicles, the clock hit 8:00 p.m. I opened the tracking dashboard Marcus had set up for me because, yes, I'm that level of prepared now. No new emails. Then 8:05. Still nothing. 8:10. I started refreshing just to make sure my connection was alive. 8:15, my phone buzzed. One text from Madison. "Don't ask. Rough night." That was it. 2 words, the holy grail of poetic justice. I leaned back on the couch, closed my eyes, and let the laughter come. It started small. A chuckle, then a snort, then full-blown, uncontrollable hysterics. I laughed so hard, I dropped my beer and scared the neighbor's cat through the window. "Oh my God," I gasped between breaths. She doubled down on seafood. I texted Marcus. Update, Stage 2 complete, Operation Oysters of Oblivion successful. He replied instantly. "Bro, did you just hack Karma again?" "Nope," I typed back. "I just gave her digestive GPS." He sent back about 40 laughing emojis and a meme of Gordon Ramsay yelling, "It's raw." I nearly spit my drink. The best part, I didn't even need details. 2 words told the whole story. Somewhere in Seattle, Madison was probably gripping the tablecloth, trying to smile through a gut apocalypse while Connor panicked and called for the check. Maybe she blamed the shrimp. Maybe she blamed stress. But deep down, she knew. Her body knew. The betrayal had finally gone full circle, internal and external. For the rest of the night, I checked my phone like it was a live sports ticker. Nothing else came through, but the mental image kept me entertained for hours. The next morning, I got up early, whistling. I made pancakes again, partly because I was craving them, partly because I enjoyed the irony. When your wife's on a seafood cleanse from hell, syrup and butter taste like victory. Around 9:30 a.m., I checked my phone. A new email from her firm's social media account popped up. They'd posted photos from the conference dinner. Everyone looked radiant. Fancy dresses, wine glasses, perfect smiles. Then I saw her. Madison, front row, pale as printer paper, smiling, and like someone trying to pretend they hadn't just sprinted back from the restroom. The comments section was comedy gold. Feel better soon, Mads. You were such a trooper last night. Still glowing? Girl. Oh, she was glowing all right. Probably from dehydration. I screenshotted the post and sent it to Marcus. Live footage from Disaster Central. He texted back, I can't breathe. Is that a bottle of water or holy water in her hand? I zoomed in on the photo. Probably both, I said out loud, grinning. The best part? The hashtags. Hash, team building, conference goals, and dedication. I laughed so hard my stomach hurt. Madison's version of dedication involved PowerPoint slides and porcelain altars. I kept scrolling, and sure enough, there she was in another shot, standing next to Connor. He looked uncomfortable, like a man whose mentee had just made his dinner memorable for all the wrong reasons. My favorite part? The caption. Our leaders inspiring confidence and resilience. I raised my coffee mug in salute. To resilience, I said. May it hold through turbulence on the flight home. The rest of the day passed in this weird haze of satisfaction and disbelief. It's not that I enjoyed her suffering. Okay, maybe a little. But mostly, it was about balance. For months, I'd been gaslit into feeling paranoid, like my instincts were defective. Turns out, they were just Wi-Fi enabled. Later that afternoon, she called. Her voice was soft, weak. Hey, babe. Hey, I said, casual. How's Seattle treating you? She groaned. Don't even ask. I caught some stomach bug or food poisoning or something. I barely made it through the dinner. Oh, no, I said, keeping my tone steady. Everyone else okay? Yeah, she muttered. Just me. Wow, I said. Unlucky, must have been something you took. Silence, just long enough for the tension to become visible through the phone. Then she said, what's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I said quickly, too quickly. Just maybe your stomach's sensitive. She sighed. I hate this. I was supposed to present tomorrow, but I can barely move. Rest up, I said kindly, and drink lots of water. Hydration's key. She murmured something grateful and hung up. I set my phone down slowly, smirk fading into a thoughtful expression. The funny thing is, a part of me wanted to feel bad. Like, okay, maybe I'd taken it too far. But then I remembered the pills, the texts, the fake smiles. The sympathy evaporated faster than her appetite. That night, Marcus came over with beer and wings. You, my friend, he said, dropping onto the couch, are an artist. Michelangelo painted ceilings. You painted karma. I grinned. It's all about brush control. He opened his beer. So what's next? Nothing, I said, taking a sip. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the reruns. Karma's doing great on its own. He laughed. You're scary when you're calm. Calm is where the power lives, I said. You can't throw punches if you're too busy swinging. Around 9 p.m., another ping from her email dashboard. Subject, apologies for missing the session. Feeling under the weather, but we'll be back tomorrow. Attached photo. Madison in her hotel bed, laptop open, pretending to work remotely. I zoomed in. She looked miserable. The caption might as well have read live from Disaster Central, Episode 2. I sent it to Marcus. The saga continues. He texted back, Bro, she's turning into a miniseries. I chuckled and turned back to the TV, feeling oddly peaceful. The kind of peace that only comes from knowing someone's finally facing the music they wrote themselves. The next morning, I woke up to another text. Hey, I'm feeling a bit better. Connor brought me breakfast. Sweet, right? Sweet, I repeated out loud. And suicidal. I didn't respond right away. I stared at the message for a while, thinking about how she could still play the part so convincingly. Even from the battlefield, she was performing, pretending this was normal, pretending she wasn't secretly unraveling. I guess that's what cheaters do best. They treat deception like customer service, smile through the complaint until someone hangs up. Finally, I typed back, "Glad you're improving. You've always been resilient." Sent it, no emoji. Tone, ambiguous. The kind that keeps people awake wondering what you really meant. I went to work on some projects, whistling again. It hit me that the drip from the sink, that endless taunting sound, was gone. Fixed. Quiet. No leaks left in the house, or my patience. At lunch, Marcus texted me one last time. "So, are we declaring victory, or waiting for another round?" "Victory," I typed. "But partial. The campaign's not over yet." "You planning a sequel?" "No," I wrote. "Just waiting for the ending she writes herself." He replied with a gif of someone dropping a mic. That evening, I checked my inbox one last time before bed. A new email notification popped up. From Madison. Subject line, "Miss you. Can't wait to be home." I opened it. Just a short paragraph about how grateful she was for me, how she couldn't have handled this without my support, and how she'd make it up to me when she got back. I stared at the screen for a long time. The words looked sincere, but sincerity is just decoration when it comes from a liar. I smiled anyway, typed back a simple, "Can't wait either, get some rest." Then I deleted the email, shut the laptop, and went to bed smiling. Because I knew one thing for sure. She wasn't sleeping easy, not tonight, not for a while. By day 2 of Madison's Seattle work trip, I'd already learned something important about betrayal. It doesn't just hurt, it schedules itself. It shows up in your inbox at 9 a.m., attaches pictures of people pretending to work, and CCs your pride. I woke up early that morning, made myself a breakfast that didn't taste like heartbreak, and opened my laptop like it was Christmas morning for Petty Husbands. The conference's official account had already posted a fresh batch of photos on Instagram. The caption read, "Day 2, collaboration, creativity, and coffee." Cute. Except Madison didn't look creative. She looked like she'd been through an emotional exorcism. There she was, third from the left, pale and glassy-eyed, clutching her water bottle like it contained salvation. The comments were a masterpiece. "Feel better, girl. Still shining through it all. You're such a trooper." Oh, she was trooping, all right. Straight through the consequences of pharmaceutical sabotage and bad life choices. I leaned back, sipping my coffee, grinning at the screen. Somewhere in Seattle, my wife was sitting through a panel about market synergy, while her insides hosted a rebellion. And that, my friend, is what I call poetic alignment. The phone rang. Marcus, naturally, he lived for updates now like I was streaming a live reality show. "Morning, Mr. Karma," he said. "What's the latest from the battlefield?" "Day 2, I said. "The troops are holding the line, but morale's low." He laughed so loud, I had to move the phone away from my ear. "You're insane. She posted anything?" "Photos. She looks like a ghost trying to fake enthusiasm." "Classic conference face," he said. "You realize you've turned this into a sport, right?" "I prefer the term performance art," I replied. I could hear him snickering. "You're scaring me, man. What happens when she comes home?" "Ah," I said, staring at the screen. "That's the season finale." By lunchtime on Wednesday, Madison's voicemail landed in my inbox. I didn't pick up when she called because, honestly, I wanted to savor it. Her voice sounded weak, like someone narrating their own karma documentary. "Hey, babe," she croaked. "Crazy stomach bug hit me out of nowhere. Can you believe it? Everyone's fine but me. Must have been something I ate." I hit replay just to hear it again. Must have been something I ate. I almost applauded. 10 out of 10 delivery. A masterclass in unintentional irony. I texted her back. "Hope you recover fast. Maybe try staying hydrated." It took her 2 hours to respond. "You're sweet. I'm drinking tons of water. Miss you." I read that, laughed, and whispered, "Sure you do." That night, I decided to up my surveillance game. Marcus had already set up access to her email, but I wanted visuals. So I did what any rational man in 2025 would do. I checked the conference's public live stream. Apparently, they were broadcasting a segment called Empowering Tomorrow's Leaders. I clicked play, and there it was. The Marriott ballroom full of bright-eyed professionals pretending they weren't hungover. And then I spotted her. Madison, my wife, sitting front row, hair perfect, smile fake, posture immaculate. For a second, I just watched her, trying to remember what it used to feel like when I believed that smile was real. Then the camera panned, and there he was, Connor Blake, Mr. Mentor himself. Square jaw, tailored suit, smug face that screamed LinkedIn influencer. He leaned toward her at one point, whispered something, and she laughed a little too hard. I didn't even feel anger anymore. Just amusement. Because if she thought this was subtle, she clearly underestimated the observant power of a betrayed man with Wi-Fi. Half an hour later, I refreshed her inbox again. A new message. Subject, thanks for checking on me. Sender, Connor Blake. I swear, the winking emoji was the cherry on this sundae of stupidity. I opened it. The body said, glad you're feeling better. Dinner tonight? There's a place near the waterfront. Low lighting, great view, just the two of us. Promise no seafood this time. I actually clapped. Oh, Connor, I muttered. You magnificent moron. I forwarded it to myself, Exhibit B. Then I forwarded it to Marcus, who texted back 5 seconds later. This dude is writing his own obituary. Pretty much, I replied. I'm just the archivist. Later that evening, around 7, another text from Madison arrived. Heading to dinner with Connor to thank him for being so sweet. Don't wait up. Wouldn't dream of it, I said aloud. By now I could almost picture the scene. Dimly lit restaurant and overpriced entrees, two people pretending to discuss work while toe flirting under the table. I imagined the conversation. Connor probably saying something like, you're so strong for pushing through your illness. Madison blushing, playing coy, pretending she wasn't mentally drafting excuses. And somewhere between her pretending and his grinning, I imagined her stomach growling like a thunderstorm. Poetic timing never fails. Sure enough, at 8:41 p.m., my phone buzzed. One message. Can we talk later? Not feeling great. I almost fell off my chair laughing. Oh no, I whispered. Round 3. Marcus called right after. You're not going to believe this, he said between wheezes. I just saw her tagged in a colleague's story. They're all still at dinner, but she's gone. Bathroom break, I said, smirking. Dude, you are terrifyingly calm. Calm men make the best villains, I said, taking a sip of beer. The next morning, I woke up to a barrage of messages. Madison's coworkers were apparently living their best lives, posting selfies with captions like, Team Vibes, an amazing night out. Meanwhile, her own account was silent, not a single update. Then, at 9:27 a.m., she texted me. Hey babe, crazy night. I think I'm coming down with something serious. Connor's getting me medicine. I didn't even bother replying immediately. I made myself breakfast first. Eggs, bacon, black coffee. The breakfast of the emotionally liberated. When I finally responded, I wrote, hope he gets the right prescription. Something gentle. She didn't reply. By noon, the conference organizers posted another update. Group photo. Bright daylight, smiling faces, no Madison. The caption read, Day 3. Some of our team members are resting, but the show goes on. Resting. What a polite euphemism for redecorating a hotel bathroom. Marcus texted again, man, she's out sick. Her coworkers just tweeted about missing her on the panel. Yeah, I replied. Guess her system's just rejecting lies. He sent back, bro, you're dangerous with metaphors. That evening, my phone rang. Madison again. Her voice sounded rougher than before. Soft, raspy, full of pity-seeking undertones. Hey, she croaked. Hey yourself, I said lightly. How's the glamorous life of conference stars? She sighed. Don't even. I've been in my room all day. Connor checked on me, brought soup again. He's so sweet. I closed my eyes and bit back a laugh. Yeah, he sounds like a real helper. He's just being kind, she said defensively. Of course, I said, feigning innocence. He's always so generous with his time. Why are you being weird? She asked, her tone shifting. Just tired, I said. Late night. Oh, she said softly. I miss you. That was the part that got me. The I miss you. Not because it felt genuine, but because she said it like it was a line she'd rehearsed. I exhaled. Rest up, I said finally. You'll need your strength for your flight home. Yeah, she whispered. Can't wait. Neither could I. After hanging up, I just sat there in silence, staring at the dark window reflection of myself. My own face looked different, calmer, sharper. Revenge has a weird side effect. It makes you see yourself clearer. Not the angry version, not the desperate one, the controlled one. I thought about how easily people rewrite stories. In Madison's version, she was probably the devoted wife with a random stomach bug, suffering nobly while working hard for her career. In mine, she was an actress finally slipping out of character. And I decided something right then. When she came home, I wouldn't confront her with yelling or tears. No, that's what amateurs do. I'd let her hang herself with silence. The one tool guilt fears the most. I spent the rest of the night cleaning the house, folding laundry, wiping counters, straightening the mail. There's something cathartic about order, especially when your life's been chaos. By midnight, the place looked perfect. Before bed, I checked her email one last time. A new message from Connor. Hope you're feeling better. I'll stop by in the morning before you head to the airport. My grin returned. Oh, please do, I murmured. Say your goodbyes while you still can. I forwarded that one too. Exhibit C. Evidence was piling up like confetti. I lay down, staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the quiet house. No leaks, no dripping, just silence. The kind that means you've finally taken back control. The next morning she texted, heading home soon, can't wait to see you. I typed back, me too, safe travels, and I meant it, just not in the way she thought. Because while she was boarding her flight, clutching her water bottle, and pretending her stomach wasn't holding a grudge, I was preparing for the next act. The homecoming. The grand reveal. The final test to see how long she could keep lying when every word she spoke already echoed through my inbox. Karma had done its part. Now it was my turn to finish the story. By the time Madison's flight landed, the house looked like a commercial for forgiveness. Candles lit, soft music playing, countertops spotless. You'd think Martha Stewart had staged the aftermath of a scandal. I wanted the place to scream normal, because nothing messes with a liar's head like calm. It's unnerving, like smiling at a raccoon that knows it's been caught stealing. I parked myself at the kitchen island, scrolling through emails like I hadn't been tracking her every digital breath for days. My phone buzzed. Marcus. She landed yet? He asked. Touchdown 15 minutes ago, I said, staring at the flight tracker. Operation Halo begins, he laughed. You naming your acts now? It's theater, I replied, and the audience is just me, Karma, and a plate of pancakes. I hung up when I heard the garage door open. Her suitcase wheels echoed across the tile. Click, 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 like a countdown clock. Then she appeared in the doorway, still in her airport clothes. Jeans, oversized sweater, sunglasses perched like she was shielding herself from guilt's glare. She looked tired. Not the I need sleep tired, the my soul wants a refund tired. Hey, babe, she said weakly, dropping her bag. God, I'm so glad to be home. Welcome back, I said, keeping my tone warm enough to confuse her. How was the conference? She sighed, rubbing her temples. Don't start. It was awful. Oh, no. I said, widening my eyes just slightly. Food poisoning? Her head snapped up. How did you... I shrugged. You mentioned feeling sick, remember? Must have been something you took. She blinked a little too long. Yeah, guess so. The pause stretched between us like invisible barbed wire. Then she gave this forced laugh. You're funny. You always know how to make me feel better. Funny's my survival mechanism, I said, smiling faintly. Want me to heat something up? Or are you still on the bland food and regret diet? She winced, but managed to laugh. Just tea. I watched her move around the kitchen. Slower, careful, like each step hurt. She opened cabinets she'd known for years, as if checking if something inside had changed. And maybe it had. The air itself felt different, charged. She finally sat across from me with her mug, both hands cupped around it like she was trying to absorb stability. I can't wait to sleep, she murmured. That hotel bed was awful. Bet, I said. You sure that's the only thing that kept you up? Her eyes flickered, quick, defensive. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I said smoothly, just making conversation. She stared at me for a long moment, searching my face. The silence stretched so long the kettle whistled again like it was trying to cut the tension. Then she exhaled, forcing a chuckle. You're weird sometimes. Only sometimes? I smiled. Must be getting better at it. Later, while she unpacked upstairs, I followed casually under the pretense of helping. Her open suitcase was a map of deceit, travel receipts, perfume-stained scarves, and that pink compact. I leaned against the doorway. You bringing souvenirs this time? She glanced back. Not really. Just tired. Hmm. I nodded toward the counter. You left your vitamins out again. She froze mid-fold, then turned slowly. What? Your vitamins, I repeated, holding up the compact I'd placed neatly beside her bag. Gotta keep up with those, right? Her smile twitched. Right, my vitamins. I set it down and walked past her to the window, pretending to admire the view. Crazy thing about trips, I said lightly. They really help you see what's essential. Yeah, she said, voice tight. Perspective's good. I turned just enough to catch her expression. Her eyes darted from me to the compact, back to me. She knew. Maybe not the details, but she felt the current. People always do when the lies start running out of oxygen. I smiled softly. Glad you're home, Mads. Really. She forced a smile, too bright. Me too. That evening I decided to play host. I cooked real food, not takeout, and even opened a bottle of wine. She perked up at that, clearly relieved. Nothing says false security like a romantic dinner with a man you think you've successfully fooled. Halfway through the meal, she finally relaxed. You know, she said, I miss this. What, food that doesn't fight back? She laughed for real this time. You're terrible. Tell me about it, I said, sipping wine. So, Connor checked in on you? Her fork froze midair. Yeah. Just to make sure I was okay. He felt bad about dinner. Ah, I nodded. And such a caring coworker. Truly mentor material. She gave a nervous chuckle. Don't be jealous. I'm not jealous, I said, eyes steady on hers. I'm observant. The color drained from her face, and for a second, I saw it. The flicker of fear. That microscopic crack when someone realizes their secrets aren't secrets anymore. I leaned back, smiling. I actually saw some of the conference photos. Looked like fun. She blinked. You saw those? Of course, you looked pale. Her eyes dropped to her plate. I told you, I was sick. Oh, I know, I said softly. It must have been a real gut-wrencher. She looked up sharply. What's that supposed to mean? I took another sip of wine and smiled. Nothing. Just glad you survived. Would have hated to lose you to shellfish and shame. Her jaw clenched. Why are you acting like this? Like what? Like you know something. I set down my glass slowly, deliberately. Because I do, Madison. The silence hit like a thunderclap. She stared, eyes wide, searching for a way out. What do you mean? I reached for my tablet on the counter, tapped the screen, and tilted it toward her. The email subject line glowed like neon. See you tonight? Her face drained completely. You... Yep, I said. Read the whole thing. Very professional correspondence. You hacked my email? I fixed your plumbing, I replied dryly. Seems like I'm good at locating leaks. Her voice broke. Ethan, it's not what you think. Oh, no way, I interrupted, smiling thinly. It's exactly what I think, probably less. She started crying, actual tears, mascara streaks, trembling hands. I messed up. Okay, it was stupid. He meant nothing. I exhaled, slowly shaking my head. You don't take birth control for nothing. Her lips parted, but no words came. The silence that followed was worse than shouting. Finally, I stood, gathering the plates. Dinner's over. Ethan, please, she said, following me. I'll end it, I swear. It was a mistake. Mistakes are forgetting your anniversary, I said, not turning around. This was a PowerPoint presentation with hotel reservations. She sobbed quietly. I don't want to lose you. I put the dishes in the sink and turned back, meeting her eyes. You already did. She slept in the guest room that night, or at least pretended to. I could hear her pacing, whispering on her phone once, probably to Connor. I almost pitied him, almost. He didn't realize he'd stepped into a story where the husband doesn't break down. He plans. I spent the night drafting an email to my lawyer friend, Rosa. She owed me a favor after I helped her brother get a job. Subject, urgent, separation papers. By sunrise, my decision was done. I wasn't angry anymore, just clear. Clarity is colder than revenge. It's surgical. When Madison came downstairs the next morning, eyes puffy, voice small, she looked like a child who'd broken something expensive. "Can we talk?" she whispered. "Sure," I said, flipping pancakes. "Because symmetry matters. We started with pancakes, we end with them." She sat quietly, twisting her fingers. "I'll quit my job if you want. I'll block him. Delete everything. Please, Ethan." I set a plate in front of her. "You don't need to do any of that." Her eyes brightened. "I don't?" "No, Matteo," I said calmly. "Rose is drafting separation papers. You'll be free to mentor each other in peace." The hope drained from her face so fast it almost made a sound. "You're joking." "Do I look like I'm joking?" Tears welled again. "You can't just throw away everything." "You threw it," I said, cutting her off. "I'm just sweeping up." She stood, trembling. "You're cruel." "No," I said, finally meeting her eyes. "I'm consistent. You just forgot what that looks like." She left the room sobbing. I sat there, eating pancakes, the syrup tasting sweeter than justice should. That afternoon, Rosa called. "You sure about this, Ethan?" "Positive." "She cheats, you humiliate her, and you still want to go through with legal separation? No reconciliation?" "Reconciliation's for people who believe the leak can be patched," I said. "I'm replacing the whole pipe." She laughed softly. "All right, papers will be ready tomorrow." After the call, I felt light, not happy and just free. The kind of freedom that hums quietly behind your ribs, reminding you've survived something. Madison didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. I didn't need her to. The silence said more than words ever could. When I finally passed by the guest room that night, I noticed her compact case sitting on the dresser, lid open. She'd replaced the pills. New pack, same color. Poetic, really. I stood there for a long moment, then whispered, "Careful what you swallow next time." When I finally went to bed, the house was still. No dripping, no crying, no lies bouncing off the walls. Just quiet, clean quiet. I thought about everything: the drip, the wrench, the pills, the emails, the looks. Every piece of the story had led here, to this steady calm. It wasn't revenge anymore. It was resolution. Before sleep took me, I sent one last text to Marcus. "Operation complete. Leak fixed. System stable." He replied instantly. "You're one scary plumber, bro." "No leaks left," I typed. "Only lessons." And for the first time in months, I fell asleep without the soundtrack of betrayal humming in my head. Just peace. Solid, earned, and entirely mine. The week after Madison's return felt like living with a ghost who still ate my cereal. She moved through the house quietly, careful not to bump into anything, especially the truth. I'd wake up to find her making coffee like some nervous barista auditioning for redemption. She tried small talk, little jokes, even offered to fix the broken porch light she'd ignored for 6 months. Guilt is fascinating. It turns liars into handymen. Me? I played along, smiled when appropriate, nodded at her stories, even laughed once or twice. I was the picture of calm domesticity, a man supposedly mending, while in reality I was collecting emotional interest on her deceit. People think silence is passive. It's not. Silence is strategy and surround sound. On Wednesday morning, I walked into the kitchen to find her humming again. It was almost comical, her trying to resurrect normal. "Good morning," she said brightly, like she'd practiced it in the mirror. "Morning," I said, pouring coffee. "Sleep?" "Better," she lied smoothly. "I've been thinking a lot about us." "That sounds exhausting," I said, and she blinked, caught between confusion and a chuckle she couldn't quite commit to. She cleared her throat. "I know you're angry, Ethan. I get it. But I want to rebuild." "Of course you do," I said, taking a sip. "People always want to rebuild the house after they set it on fire." She winced. "That's not fair." "Neither was the affair," I replied, calm, steady. "But we're not keeping score, right?" She fell quiet, staring at her mug like it might offer legal counsel. After breakfast, she went upstairs to catch up on work, which was my cue. I slipped into the living room, opened my laptop, and checked the shared cloud folder Marcus had rigged. Yes, I still had access to her company email. What can I say? Trust issues make great IT habits. Sure enough, there it was. Fresh correspondence. Sender. Connor Blake. Subject, just checking in. The message was short. Hope you're feeling better. Missed talking to you this week. You were the best part of the conference. I laughed out loud, startling the dog, and this guy's got the survival instincts of a moth near a porch light. I forwarded the email to myself, Exhibit D, and then, because pettiness is an art form, I printed a copy and folded it neatly into an envelope labeled Mentorship Program. I slid it into my desk drawer, right beside the separation papers Rosa had drafted. Because nothing says closure like documentation. That evening I cooked dinner again. Steak this time. Madison walked in surprised. You're cooking? Yeah, I said. Figured I'd make something memorable. She hesitated, probably wondering if memorable meant edible or emotionally scarring. Smells great, she said carefully. We sat down, plates between us, knives glinting under the pendant light. Halfway through the meal, she started. Connor texted me today. I didn't even flinch. Oh? How's your mentor? She paused, fork in midair. Ethan? What? You brought him up. He just wanted to see how I was doing. He feels awful about everything. Everything? I asked, tilting my head. You mean the part where he was comforting a married woman? Or the part where his digestive system survived dinner? She sighed, frustrated. Can you stop making jokes about it? I could, I said, chewing slowly. But then how would I process my trauma? Ethan, I'm serious, she snapped. So am I said evenly. You keep saying he was just a mentor. Mentors don't text hearts at midnight, Madison. They send feedback forms. She opened her mouth, closed it, then tried again. It wasn't like that. I was confused. He listened to me when I felt unseen. Oh, that's rich, I interrupted. You felt unseen, so you started scheduling private viewings? Her eyes filled with tears. I'm trying to be honest with you. No, I said quietly. You're trying to rewrite the story before it goes public. She pushed her plate away, stood pacing. You don't understand, Ethan. You stopped caring long before Seattle. Maybe, I said, but I didn't outsource affection to a man named Connor Blake. She stopped pacing, glaring at me through glassy eyes. You're cruel. I smiled faintly. Cruelty's relative. Honesty just hurts more because it doesn't flinch. She stormed upstairs, muttering something about space. I let her go. Let her stomp, cry, text whoever she needed to. Because every move she made was proof of concept. She couldn't live without control. And right now, she had none. Later that night, I heard her phone buzz on the counter. I didn't even have to look. I knew who it was. I picked it up anyway. Connor again. Still thinking about you. Wish we could talk like before. I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed a reply without sending it. So does my lawyer. Then I deleted it, set the phone back, and went to bed. Around midnight, I heard soft footsteps. Madison slipped into the room like a thief breaking into her own house. She stood at the edge of the bed, whispering, Can we talk? Depends, I said, not opening my eyes. About what? Love, lies, or mentorship programs? She sighed. Please, I can't sleep. Guilt does that, I murmured. Ethan, she said, voice cracking. I ended it with him. For real. I opened my eyes then. Good for you, I said flatly. Want a medal or a refund? She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her hands. You don't believe me. I believe you did something, I said. I just don't think it erases everything else. She started crying quietly. I watched her shoulders shake, felt nothing but distant curiosity. Empathy had left the building weeks ago. Finally, I said, Madison, I'm not going to scream at you if that's what you're waiting for. You already got the reaction you deserved, just not the one you rehearsed for. She looked up, confused. What does that mean? It means, I said, leaning back, I'm done being the emotional janitor in this marriage. You made a mess. You clean it. She whispered, I'm trying. Good, I said. Start by moving your stuff to the guest room. You're not sleeping here. Her mouth opened, but she saw something in my face, something final, and closed it again. She nodded silently and left. The next morning, she was gone before sunrise. She left a note on the counter at Mom's for a few days. I'll give you space. I poured coffee, smiled. Best gift you've given me in years. The quiet was glorious. No fake humming, no tiptoeing apologies, just peace. The kind that hums like air conditioning after a power outage. Marcus came over later that day. She finally leave? Temporarily, I said. Enough for my blood pressure to thank her. He grinned. So what's the plan now? Divorce party? Not yet, I said. First, I want her to sign the separation papers while she's still too guilty to argue. After that, maybe a new life where my Google Calendar doesn't include therapy sessions. He laughed. Man, you're colder than my ex's heart. Call it climate control, I said. He sobered a bit. You good, though? Actually? I thought about it. Good's a stretch, but functional, absolutely. Functionality is underrated. And 2 days later, Madison came back. She looked worn down, less like a villain, more like a person who'd been hit by her own plot twist. Can we talk? She asked at the door. Sure, I said, stepping aside. She sat at the dining table, the same place she'd once laughed, lied, and launched her downfall. I read the papers, she began softly. I'll sign them, but I need you to know something. I crossed my arms. You have 30 seconds before I start charging emotional rent. Her lips trembled. He meant nothing, Ethan. I know you don't believe me, but it was never about him. It was about me feeling invisible. I nodded slowly. You know what's ironic? You wanted to be seen, and now everyone will remember you as the woman who lost everything because she couldn't tell the truth. Tears welled again. You don't have to humiliate me. I'm not, I said quietly. You did that all by yourself. She looked away, ashamed. I'm sorry. Good on it, I said. Now prove it. She signed the papers, hands shaking. When she finished, she slid them across the table, like they might explode. There, happy? I looked at her for a long moment. No, I said honestly, but free. She nodded slowly, stood and walked toward the door. But before she left, she turned back. Do you still love me? The question hit harder than I expected, not because of sentiment, but because of timing. She had the audacity to ask now, when love was the only currency she'd bankrupted herself out of. I took a breath. Love, I said. Sure. So in the same way you love the house you had to sell after the fire, fond memories, zero attachment. She flinched, nodded once, and left. The door closed softly, almost respectfully, as if even it knew the drama had reached its final act. That night, I poured myself a drink and sat on the porch listening to crickets instead of lies. Marcus texted. She signed. Yep, I wrote back. Connor's next mentorship might involve a restraining order. He replied with a laughing emoji. So this is closure? No, I typed, smiling faintly. This is peace with better Wi-Fi. I leaned back, sipping whiskey, watching the sky darken. Somewhere out there, Madison was probably staring at her phone, waiting for a text that would never come. And for the first time, I didn't care if she cried, called, or cursed me. That was her homework now, self-study in consequences. Inside, the house was quiet again. My house, my rules, my silence. When I finally went to bed, I passed the kitchen counter and noticed her compact still sitting there, the same pink case that started everything. I picked it up, flipped it open, and looked at the new pills lined up neatly inside. Real ones this time, honest ones. I smirked. Too late for corrections, sweetheart. I set it down, turned off the lights, and whispered to the dark. Mentor problem solved. Divorce isn't a thunderclap. It's a slow drizzle that ruins every picnic you ever planned. By the time Madison came back for what she called closure, I was long past anger. Anger burns out. I had moved on to something better, clarity, that cold, glass-edge calm that makes even guilt sound like background noise. She texted the night before, can we talk tomorrow? Just to end things properly. Properly, I muttered, reading it while brushing my teeth. Like there was a polite way to dismantle a marriage. I didn't reply. Let her marinate in the silence. The next morning, she showed up in that gray sweater she used to wear when she wanted to look soft and harmless. Too late for branding exercises. She stood on my porch clutching a folder and a coffee cup, like she was interviewing for a job she'd already been fired from. Can I come in? She asked. I opened the door. Technically, you still have a key. She smiled awkwardly. I didn't want to assume. Oh, please, I said, stepping aside. Assuming's your superpower. She winced, but didn't argue. Inside, everything was the same couch, same faint smell of lemon cleaner, but she looked at it like it was a museum of her mistakes. I motioned to the dining table. Have a seat. Let's do this exit interview. Her brow furrowed. Exit interview? Yeah, I said, pouring myself coffee. Standard corporate procedure. Discuss performance, reasons for termination, opportunities for improvement. She sat, eyes glossy. Ethan, please don't turn this into a joke. I'm not joking, I said lightly. I'm following HR protocol. She sighed, resting her elbows on the table. You really hate me. No, I said, sitting across from her. Hate takes effort. I'm just done paying emotional rent. She swallowed hard. I deserve that. Yep, I said, taking a sip. And a few other things, but we'll get to that. For a moment, neither of us spoke. She fiddled with the coffee lid, her wedding ring conspicuously absent. Mine, too, lay somewhere in a drawer next to expired batteries and memories. Finally, she said, Connor's transferring to another branch. I told him it was over. Corporate exile, I said, nodding. Nice touch. He's not the villain here, she said softly. Of course not, I said. He's just the supporting actor in your self-discovery arc. She closed her eyes, exhaling shakily. I know I hurt you. Good, I said. Awareness is step one. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I leaned back, smirking. That's the funny part about meaning. You didn't mean to cheat, didn't mean to lie, didn't mean to keep me in the dark. That's a lot of accidents for one person. Tears shimmered. I loved you. Past tense noted. She looked up sharply. You really don't believe in forgiveness? Oh, I do, I said, just not recycling. Her jaw trembled. You're cruel. I'm consistent, I corrected. It's new to you, so it feels sharp. She looked away, wiping her cheek. I came here hoping we could talk like adults. We are, I said, setting down my cup. This is me being adult, calm, articulate, no yelling. Do you want me to yell? Would that make you feel better? She shook her head. I just want to explain. Then go ahead, I said, gesturing. The floor's yours. She took a breath. After your vasectomy, I felt disconnected. You were distant, focused on work. I felt invisible. Connor listened. It started as mentorship, then I raised a hand. Stop. Don't insult my intelligence with cliches. We drifted apart. He listened. I felt unseen. I've heard the script. You didn't trip into his bed because of emotional invisibility. You made a choice. Own it. She stared at me, lips quivering. I was weak. That's honesty, I said. Keep going. I don't expect you to take me back. I just want you to know I never stopped loving you. I laughed softly. You have a fascinating definition of love, Madison. In your world, love means strategic lies and travel rewards points. Please, she whispered, eyes shining. Don't do this. Do what? Hold up a mirror? She flinched, folding her hands. I miss us. Us? I said. There hasn't been an us since the night I fixed the leak. Her head snapped up. What? I smiled faintly. You remember that? The night I found your pills under the sink? That was the night I realized the marriage had a slow drip. I just finally shut the valve. Color drained from her face. You knew back then? Of course, I said. I just wanted to see how long you'd keep selling fiction. She looked stunned, like she'd been standing on a stage with no script. Why didn't you confront me? Because I wanted data, I said dryly. Evidence, pattern recognition, I'm methodical like that. So, the laxatives? I raised my eyebrows. Ah! So you did notice. Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God, that was you! I shrugged. Consider it a health intervention. She stood up, eyes wide, half furious, half horrified. That's sick. So is your seafood, and I said calmly. But we both learned something, didn't we? Her voice shook. You could have told me. Why? I asked, standing too. So you could cry, apologize, and still fly to Seattle pretending nothing happened? You needed to feel the consequence. Sometimes the only way to fix a leak is pressure. She backed away, speechless. I could see it in her eyes. Disbelief that the quiet man she thought she could manipulate had been pulling the strings the whole time. You're not who I married, she whispered. I smiled thinly. Neither are you. She sat again, deflated, staring at the floor. The silence was heavy, the kind that forces confessions. Finally, she whispered, "What happens now?" "Now," I said, "now you sign the rest of the documents. We divide assets. You keep your car, your savings, and whatever dignity you can salvage. I'll take the house." Her voice cracked. "You're just throwing everything away." "No," I said, collecting the folder. "I'm decluttering." She swallowed. "We built this life together." "Correction," I said. "I built it. You decorated it with deceit." That broke her. She started crying again, quiet, ugly sobs that filled the room. I didn't move to comfort her this time. I just stood there, watching years of manipulation dissolve into wet mascara streaks. When she finally stopped, she said, "Is there anything I can do to make it right?" I thought about it. "Yeah. Leave with some grace. Don't turn this into another performance. Just go." She nodded weakly. "I will." I walked her to the door. She hesitated, looking back one last time. "Do you ever wonder if we could have been happy again?" I met her gaze. "We were happy," and I said. "You just wanted applause." She flinched, bit her lip, and stepped outside. The door closed behind her with a soft click that felt louder than thunder. After she left, I stood in the living room, surrounded by the echo of everything unsaid. The silence was deafening, but clean. For the first time, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. Anger had served its purpose. Now I was just free. I poured myself a drink, sat on the couch, and stared at the papers she'd signed. My phone buzzed, a text from Marcus. "She gone?" "Gone," I typed. "So how's it feel?" I looked around. The light through the window hit the floorboards in perfect symmetry, no shadows. "Feels like breathing without static," I wrote back. He replied with a simple thumbs up emoji. And that was that. That night, I went through the ritual of closure. I deleted her photos from my phone, emptied the shared drives, archived every email. Then, out of pure pettiness, I framed the printed message from Connor, the "See you tonight" one, and placed it in my drawer under the title Lessons Learned. Not out of hate, out of reminder. Humans are capable of anything when they think they won't get caught. Before bed, I walked into the kitchen for water and saw the faint reflection of myself in the microwave door. Same face, different man. The kind who'd stared betrayal in the eye and smiled back. I lifted my glass to the reflection. "To closure," I whispered. "May it always arrive on time." The next morning, I woke early, habit more than need. The house was still, quiet except for the hum of the fridge. I made breakfast for one, eggs, toast, peace, and sat at the same table where everything had fallen apart. But it didn't feel like a grave anymore. It felt like reclamation. Halfway through my meal, I noticed the envelope she'd left behind. Her handwriting on the front. For Ethan. I opened it. Inside was a short note, no dramatics, no perfume, just black ink on white paper. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but thank you for showing me who I really was. You always deserve better." I read it once, twice, then folded it neatly and dropped it in the drawer with the rest of the evidence. Not out of nostalgia, just record keeping. When I stepped outside, the air felt different, crisp, new. The neighbor waved. I waved back. Life somehow kept going. For the first time in months, I didn't look over my shoulder, didn't check my phone, didn't wonder what she was doing. My story wasn't about her anymore, it was about me. The man who fixed leaks, rewired trust, and learned that silence can be louder than vengeance. That evening, Marcus showed up with a pizza and 2 beers. "To freedom," he said, raising a bottle. "To peace," I corrected, clinking it. He grinned. "You gonna start dating again?" "Eventually," I said. "Right now I'm dating self-respect. We're exclusive." He laughed so hard beer almost came out his nose. "You're ridiculous." "Yes," I said, smiling, "but at least I'm honest about it." We ate, talked trash about our old college days, and by the time he left, I realized the laughter didn't feel forced anymore. It was real, earned. When the door closed behind him, I turned off the lights and sat in the quiet again, listening. No drips, no echoes. Just the sound of a man finally done fixing what wasn't his to repair. 3 weeks after Madison signed the papers, the house stopped feeling like a crime scene. The air was lighter. The silence didn't bite anymore. It exhaled. I'd finally removed the last traces of her from the place. Her toothbrush, her cardigan on the coat hook, that one framed wedding photo she'd forgotten. I kept the frame, tossed the picture, and slid in a note instead. Do not resuscitate. Rosa called that morning to confirm the court filing. It's official, she said. You're a free man. Free. The word hit different when it wasn't printed on a marketing brochure. Thanks, Rosa, I said. Send Connor a fruit basket with a thank you card. She laughed. You're not right, Ethan. Never claimed to be. After hanging up, I stood in the kitchen, staring at the quiet faucet, the one that started it all. Funny how a leaky pipe can trigger an entire personal revolution. I twisted the handle. Not a single drop. No hiss, no drip. Perfectly fixed. Guess it was never about you, I told the sink. You just gave me the hint. Marcus dropped by with 2 coffees and his usual grin. So, officially divorced. How's it feel? Like finishing a marathon I didn't sign up for, I said. You don't win, but at least the bleeding stops, he laughed. You gonna celebrate? Already did, I said, nodding toward the trash bin where Madison's last text was deleted minutes earlier. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve it. I'd replied, You're right, I didn't, and blocked the number. Best toast of my life. Marcus raised his cup. To poetic justice and solid plumbing, and to women who read pill labels. I added clinking cups. We sat on the porch for a while, watching the neighborhood kids ride bikes. He said, You ever think you'll trust someone again? Sure, I said. But next time I'm hiring an auditor before a wedding planner. He snorted coffee through his nose. You need therapy. I've got caffeine and a friend who hacks emails for fun, I said. That's cheaper. After he left, I cleaned the porch, turned off my phone, and let the quiet stretch. For the first time, the silence didn't feel like something missing. It felt earned. That evening, I took a long drive, no destination, just the hum of the road and the kind of peace that comes when there's nothing left to explain. The city lights blurred by like old arguments fading out of relevance. Somewhere between one red light and the next, I realized I wasn't thinking about her anymore. I was thinking about me, what came next, what I wanted, what I'd stopped pretending to need. When I got home, I found the last piece of her, the pink compact sitting on the bathroom shelf, the same one that started the domino effect. I opened it one final time. New pills inside, legit ones this round. I smiled, snapped it shut, and tossed it into the trash. No more prescriptions for lies, I muttered. Later that night, I sat on the couch with a beer, the house dim except for the flicker of a muted game on TV. I wasn't lonely. I was just still. There's a difference. Loneliness is waiting for someone to fill the space. Stillness is realizing it doesn't need filling. Before bed, I checked my email. Old habits die nosy. A single message from Marcus. Bro, remember, karma doesn't need reminders. It's got Jeep. I laughed, closed the laptop, and looked around the living room one more time. Every inch of it was mine again. Not shared, not negotiated. Just mine. Upstairs, I brushed my teeth, turned off the lights, and caught my reflection in the mirror. The man staring back didn't look broken. He looked updated, like a version that had been debugged through hell. Congratulations, I told him. You survived love, plumbing, and Seattle. He smirked back. I climbed into bed, the sheets cold but honest, and let the dark wrap around me. The last thought before sleep wasn't about revenge or regret. It was relief. Madison could chase new beginnings, new mentors, new excuses. Me? I had peace, a quiet house, and the satisfaction of knowing that sometimes the cleanest break isn't from a person. It's from who you had to be to keep them. And with that, I turned off the light and finally slept without dreaming of drips, pills, or apologies.